and let us all do we can to build a better future.
So the ongoing crisis is still happening in the conflict between Palestine and Israel. And we are witnessing again the ongoing brutality of man's inhumanity to men. But I do have to say that the corporate media, the liberals in the establishment, are quite hilarious. And how interesting it is that they are the hypocrites, or their own hypocrisy is being revealed to all of us in real time. Now, a lot of us probably knew all of them were hypocrites, but I think it's important that we just bring up their hypocrisy, show them for who they are. On yesterday's show, I did share this from Mark Hamill, and of course, I want to give a shout out to Kimber Maddox, who did a screenshot of this. But look, it's Mark Hamill. America stands, right? Always. The jokes write themselves, but hey, Mark, honoring all those who were here first, Indigenous Peoples Day. Sounds good on paper. Yesterday was Indigenous Peoples Day. But look. What I guess nothing for the Palestinian people though. And then of course you have this big brain genius here. Harry. Little old Harry. Wow. President Biden just released a joint statement with the leaders from Germany, France, the United Kingdom, Italy, condemning the attack on Israel. This is true leadership. President Biden's ability to unite the countries is invaluable. He's bringing the world together. Honest to God, Biden could crap his pants and Harry would be like, wow, Biden just made the best bowel movement ever. One of the main reasons I support Biden is that he consistently does the right thing. He doesn't listen to the noise and conspiracies from Republicans. He just does the job and does what's right, no matter how unpopular. He's a true leader, and I'm thankful for him. Harry, you got a little something on your nose, buddy. You got a little something on your nose. Because if we really look at who Joe Biden truly is, we have to remember that this man doesn't give a damn except for his own ego. So we return back to a time when Biden, used to make coherent sentences. But mind you, what he's going to be saying is the truth of neoliberalism. And that is forever war. Forever war.
If we look at the Middle East, I think it's about time we stop, those of us who support, as most of us do, Israel in this body, for apologizing for our support for Israel. There's no apology to be made. None. It is the best $3 billion investment we make. Were there not an Israel, the United States of America would have to invent an Israel to protect her interest in the region. The United States would have to go out and invent an Israel. If we look at...
We'd have to invent one. We'd have to invent one. And so while we are witnessing people being destroyed, livelihoods being shaken up, our establishment media is very quick to talk about how Hamas attack challenges Biden's goals in the Middle East. Well, I don't know. I think a lot of presidential administrations have done their fair share of damage in the Middle East. The unprecedented attack by Hamas against Israel has upended the Biden administration's goal for peace in the region. That was never going to happen. President Biden, who affirmed rock-solid support of Israel, will be challenged to hold a line in giving Jerusalem the space it requires to retaliate against Hamas in the besieged Gaza Strip, pushing back against expected calls for Israel to exercise restraint to enter into a ceasefire with the Iranian-backed terror group. A tweet from the Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, on Sunday night calling for a ceasefire was deleted. You can't have that kind of speech now. Nobody wants to see anybody, an innocent civilian or family, wrecked by violence. Of course not. White House National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby said on a call with reporters Monday night, "We share values with Israel when it comes to law of war and respect for life. And I won't speak to whatever the Israeli Defense Forces are planning to do in their operations. I think I'll just leave it there. The president is also faced with securing the release of any American hostages who may have been taken by Hamas from communities in Israel and exacting justice for U.S. citizens killed in the assault, with people gunned down in their homes and on the street or killed by rocket fire on population centers. And I know recently this video has been going viral all over because it's CNN of all things. Huge shout out to Fiorella for retweeting this. Palestinians are being carpet bombed with illegal white phosphorus and have been getting bombed and murdered in open air concentration camps for over 75 years. But poor CNN mouthpiece frantically performing for the camera and carrying water for Zionist war crimes. Hey, it's from Brian Stelzer. You don't even work at CNN anymore, buddy. What's wrong with you?
Clarissa is on the ground right now. Clarissa, tell us what's happening.
Stand by.
Hi, John. So forgive me, I have a slightly unelegant position, but we have just had a massive barrage of rockets coming in here, not too far from us. So we have had to take shelter here by the roadside. We're just about 5 minutes away. Gaza is in that direction. We can hear now a lot of jets in the sky. We could also hear the Iron Dome intercepting a number of those rockets as they were whizzing overhead and making impact in that direction.
So, look, there's a lot of footage going out there, but I'll never forget the day when corporate media stooges were in Syria and remember that chemical gas attack. I know that it's been shared a lot on the Jimmy Dore show where a backpack and some other materials was sprayed with chemicals, and the reporter just sniffs it and says, yeah, it smells like chemicals, even though it was all heavily doctored. I don't want to say that this is fake or this is over dramatized, but it wouldn't be the first time we've seen the media make things too dramatic.
Not too far from here. We came to this location because this was ground zero for this entire operation of carnage. Hamas militants came on a pickup truck. This was the first place where they breached that border wall, and they basically drove down this strip, just spraying lead wherever they went. We saw, in fact, I was just grabbing it before that happened and we had to hit the deck, but
Oh, wow, she grabbed it. Okay, great.
heavy weaponry being used. It's saying we
Okay. You know what this reminds me of? And I'm seeing it in the live stream chat too, so it's probably skipping by, but okay, Second Childhood, you're the one who wrote that, but I've got some flashbacks of that too. Who remembers, or who has seen videos of when reporters are covering a hurricane and you got those weather reporters out there and they're really blowing hard saying, the wind here is hitting us really, really hard. We're being blown back really, really fast. And there's like, and in the background, there's just like regular people just walking, just do, 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 do. I'm not saying that this could be one big scene, a perfect photogenic shot, trying to build up the intensity. I'll let you decide. Type 1 if you think, no, kid, because there's a lot of back and forth, rockets being fired, airstrikes, missiles, rapid gunfire. It could have happened. The type 2, no, man. This looks. Wag the Dog did a better job, and yes, I think we all know the movie Wag the Dog. Perhaps we'll check it out for another day. Who knows? But I'll let you decide.
We can get up now. Where are we moving to? Sorry, just 1 second, guys. Okay.
Let's come up and go this way, and then.
All right. So now I can show you the scene here. This is.
It kind of looks okay. Can't judge too much by appearances.
Where those militants first came, opening up fire on all these vehicles. There's a baby carriage down there, turned over.
Okay, can you get a shot of the baby carriage?
On its side. You can see over there, Clayton, if you just show in the distance there, some kind of strikes, looks like in Gaza as well. Return fire. Or is that the smoke from the rocket launches? Forgive me. It's a little difficult after being crouched in a ditch to know exactly what's been going on.
Wow. They got hit really high. Hey, look, two regular guys going like, hey, what's going on here? You guys shooting a movie or something? But hey, don't worry. We got something to counteract that. Because it's always important to see both sides, to see both perspectives. So I'm playing this video here.
Okay.
And this video will be difficult to watch.
During war times, all the neighbors, they just leave their door open, so you can just enter your neighbor's house, it's okay. For my neighbors, they didn't evacuate as well. They have their windows down. Here are their windows. And here is the family. They're gathering all together, also in a place far away from the window. I was trying to explain things, but I think you can hear them now. I'll go check on my parents. Now, we're inside the house right now, and literally we can't breathe. That's the view from the window, and I can't keep it open. That's the view from the balcony. There is literally no view. You can't see anything.
And there's more videos like that. Now, of course, we have seen other disturbing imagery of people dying, carrying out their loved ones who have passed away. And we can't play that because obviously YouTube will hit the video, will hit our videos, but the brutality is becoming all too real. And unfortunately, because of this, we're seeing the drums of war being played again, and now intertwining Israel and Ukrainian aid all together. So I'll pull up this article here from RT, just to trigger the liberals. Top White House officials are considering to include more Ukraine funding, in an emergency aid package for Israel. Multiple news outlets have reported. One staffer suggested the move would force far-right lawmakers to authorize additional aid for Kiev. I don't want to sound crazy, but it almost seems far, far, far too convenient now with this situation happening in Israel that now, oh, hey, we got to aid Israel, but we also got to give money to Ukraine. And there's only one way you get those far-right Republicans to do that is if you intertwine that aid for Israel with Ukraine. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying this is a conspiracy, but it just seems just a little bit too odd to say goodbye to the anti-war right, because I don't see MTG or Matt Gaetz or anyone else part of the GOP doing anything to upset the military aid for Israel. I just don't see that, even if it's intertwined with Ukraine. I just don't see it happen. If that were to happen, I would be shocked. Though President Joe Biden had already announced that military assistance was on its way to Israel following a surprise attack by Palestinian militants over the weekend, the White House has signaled that it would soon ask Congress to approve additional aid for the Jewish state. Lawmakers in both parties and senior administration officials have hinted that the aid package could also include provisions for Ukraine, unnamed sources told the Washington Post, NBC News, and other outlets on Monday. Though no final decision has been made, one anonymous official told the Post that the move would be wise because it jams the far right. Because you gotta get the Republicans to fall in line, right? Referring to Republicans who vocally support Israel but are skeptical of continuing aid to Ukraine. White House spokesman John Kirby, meanwhile, declined to say whether the two aid packages would be linked, only stating, "We believe both are important." Now, hold on. Don't ever expect there to be any kind of help for you. That ain't gonna happen. Money for war, no money for us. While debate over the aid is likely to be contentious, the Pentagon has insisted that it has plenty of weapons for all U.S. partners. So more weapons. You get a weapon, and you get a weapon, and you get a weapon. And of course, you're going to have people like little Harry going to be cheerleading along. And of course, you're going to have Mark Hamill too. That douchebag and every other liberal Hollywood jagoff. They're all going to be saying the same thing. Oh, we got to stand with Biden. Biden's showing real leadership. How about peace talks? How about diplomacy? I know that's a controversial statement to make, but can't we give peace a chance? I mean, is it possible? Yes, no, maybe. F you. Continue on. During the background briefing on Monday, a senior defense official told reporters that Washington could continue our support for both Ukraine and Israel and maintain our own global readiness, noting the U.S. has been able to meet every request that our Israeli counterparts have made. Israel is among the largest recipients of U.S. foreign aid, taking in some $3.3 billion in American tax dollars in 2022 alone, a comparable amount to previous years, according to U.S. government statistics. Since the conflict with Russia escalated in February of 2022, Ukraine has also become a major beneficiary, with the White House approving at least $45 billion in direct military aid through 47 separate transfers. Both Republicans and Democrats have largely voiced support for Israel after deadly Hamas attack earlier on Saturday morning, which has prompted harsh retaliation by the Israeli Defense Forces and intense bombing campaign in Gaza. More than 1,500 people have been killed on both sides of the conflict so far, while Palestinian fighters claim to have captured more than 100 Israeli and foreign hostages during their raids. Thousands of Israelis and Palestinians have evacuated their homes due to the violent flare-up, while the IDF has called on 300,000 reservists as it mobilized for a larger conflict. This is only the beginning. And of course, hey, we got people like Adam Kinzinger, CNN senior political commentator, who says, tie Ukraine aid to Israel aid. Pass them both or don't. We don't support our allies or we don't. We support our allies or we don't. Shout out to Anya, who has done a lot of great reporting, groundbreaking reporting with the Gray Zone. I'm going to go with don't, because it's, again, leading to more madness. And of course, hey, let's talk about the real issue. The woke, war-crazed liberals. That's right. The liberals who like to drink liberally and tell us that we got to support Biden because Twump, the orange boogeyman. While Western woke and war-crazed, why Western liberals support Ukraine's atrocities. Yes, that's right, because we got to intertwine all of this. We got this dude right here. What's his name? Sarah. Okay, that's the name he goes by. So Voltaire famously stated, whoever can make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities. It is helpful to see the following full quote, in which this line appears to understand the meaning of its often cited maxim. Formerly, there were those who said, you believe things that are incomprehensible, inconsistent, impossible, because we have commanded you to believe them. Go then and do what is unjust, because we command it. Ooh, sounds spooky. Perfect for October. Such people show admirable reasoning. Truly, whoever can make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities. If the God-given understanding of your mind does not resist a demand to believe what is impossible, then you will not resist a demand to do wrong to that God-given sense of justice in your heart. As soon as one faculty of your soul has been dominated, other faculties will follow as well. And from this derives all those crimes of religion which have overrun the world. So in other words, being compelled to believe untruths, that's right. Remember Donnie Boy Rumsfeld's, there are known knowns and known unknowns, and then there are unknown unknowns. And indeed, obvious untruths, which you know in your heart are untrue, then living your life as if these untruths are real can have a morally corrosive effect and prime you to conform with terrible crimes. George Orwell illustrates this phenomenon well in his novel 1984, which is our current era, in which he explains that the dictatorial and brutal government at the center of this story rules the population and gains its buy-in to the awful system in which it lives by forcing the people to believe in and even repeat absurd, nonsensical slogans such as war is peace, freedom is slavery. We live in a cartoon world, folks, my lovelies, my mornings, my sunshines. It is chaos through and through. This article then goes into detail on how we have many of these neoliberals, these politicians, these activists, these organizers, these liberals who used to be anti-war. Remember the anti-war group, especially under the Bush administration or Bush Jr. administration, or even the Trump administration? How so many people were saying that Bush Jr. and Donald Trump were going to lead us to World War III. And instead, now these very same liberals are saying, we gotta have war because otherwise somebody else will do it for us. And then you got guys like this here who are calling for the silence of journalists and then to be expelled. I will not apologize. If you're not upset, if you're not frightened by the absurdity of this world that we are in, just remember, we also have people who believe that this is some sort of end times prophecy. Look, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not a big fan of the end times. There's a lot I want to do still. I want to play this video from Kim Iverson.
This is where things get weird. And I think everybody should pay attention to this one. This is reports that Syria, we might end up going into more of a war, a wider war with Syria. And
hey, a wider war with Syria. What could, say it with me, folks. What could possibly go wrong?
Israel might be doing a wider war with Syria. And that makes sense if you understand that Israel has also, for example, gone and annexed the Golan Heights and would like to gain more of Syria's land. That is also part of the prophecy that the land that is, a lot of it is Syria, if not all of it, would belong to the descendants of Abraham. So if you follow along that line of thinking, then it makes sense that they would suddenly, sort of like how we went after Iraq after 9/11, even though it was a bunch of Saudis who did 9/11, but we were like, oh, Iraq, invade Iraq, because there really was a different alternative motive there. So here's the reports coming out saying that Israeli authorities claim Joe Biden will use the U.S. military to join a wider war for Israel against Syria, now that he has sent the U.S. Navy against Hamas ahead of any possible conflict with China over Taiwan and its continuing war on Russia through Ukraine. So the Israel radar says, Israeli warning to Hezbollah, IDF will destroy Damascus, target Syrian President Assad if Hezbollah joins the war, which Hezbollah is in Lebanon, saying U.S. warships will support Israel in war. So
there's something else here I want to bring up here, and that is, never forget the one time a president actually told us why we were involved in Syria, or hell, why we were in the Middle East at all. It was none other than the most transparent president, in my opinion, in U.S. history. And that's Donald Trump. No, it's not an endorsement of Trump, but he told the truth. He was speaking before a reporter. The reporter asked him, why are we in Syria? Why are we in this region? And he didn't say because of freedom or rebuilding the country or liberating the people or restoring democracy or bringing democracy. He said this one simple statement that was the whole truth, nothing but the truth, and the main reason why we will never get out of the Middle East. We're there for the oil. You would never hear that from Ronnie Boy Reagan. You would never hear that from Bush Sr. or good old Bill Clinton or Bush Jr. and his puppet master Cheney. You wouldn't hear that from Obama, and you wouldn't hear that from Biden. But that's the truth. I bet all of Washington, D.C. took a collective dump in their pants as soon as Trump said that.
Oh, this is frightening. The fact that they're pointing at Syria, which they've been salivating over Syria for a long time, both Israel and the United States. And they're saying that if Hezbollah, which is in Lebanon, attacks Israel, they're going to go after Syria and they're going to destroy Damascus and target Syria and Bashar al-Assad. That doesn't make any sense to me, but neither did the Iraq invasion. When you actually start to go and connect the dots, it's like, what did the Iraqis have to do with 9/11? Same sort of thing going on here. So keep your eyes wide open. We might end up in a war with Syria, major escalations in Syria. That could be where Israel decides to point and aim in hopes, what is the end goal there? I think everybody should be asking some questions when things don't add up.
Of course. Now, look, we also have to understand that this war is ongoing, that this war will continue on. And there is mass injustice that's happening. For 75 years, many of the people who live in the occupied territories, West Bank and Gaza, have been brutally oppressed by the apartheid government. When you treat people as though they are lesser than you and have no right to exist, put them in, and I'm using these words generously, hyper-segregated, and that's, let's be clear. These are open air these are just concentration camps. No water, no electricity. We're seeing people's livelihoods being destroyed. We have witnessed firsthand through those 75 years, generation after generation of people being destroyed and being dehumanized. Of course, there's going to be a pushback. And anytime you do bring it up, there's always the standard neoliberal pushback. But I want to play this video to bring some sanity into this segment, because we need to have sanity here. This video is many years old, but I think it's very apropos for this day and age.
During your speech, you made a lot of references to Jewish people, as well as certain people in your audience, not Jewish people in general, but certain people, especially in your audience, tonight. Now, that is extremely offensive when certain people are German.
Okay, now look. The whole world is not a liberal arts college, okay? The world is supposed to be offensive and brutal. The world is cursed, my friends. The world is cursed, and you will deal with brutality. But I just like this face that he's making right here. It's like, yeah, okay, it's offensive. So, and
they're also extremely offensive to people who've actually suffered under rule.
I don't respect that anymore. I really don't. I don't like and I don't respect the crocodile tears the crocodile tears. No, my late father was in Auschwitz. My late mother was in Majdanek concentration camp. Both of my parents were in the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. And it's precisely and exactly because of the lessons my parents taught me and my two siblings that I will not be silent when Israel commits its crimes against the Palestinians. And I consider nothing more despicable than to use their suffering and their martyrdom to try to justify the torture, the brutalization, the demolition of homes that Israel daily commits against the Palestinians. So I refuse any longer to be intimidated or browbeaten by the tears.
God, I love that. God, I love that. That's great. That is what you call a powerful, powerful speech. And unfortunately, we will not be seeing peace in our time. No, that's not happening. There will be no peace, unfortunately, because there's money to be made off of war. A forever war. Why do you think all these opportunities of peace have been denied? I mean, again, there were opportunities for a true lasting peace. There were open doors in which we could have avoided this ongoing forever conflict, not only just between Palestine and Israel, but in the Middle East as well. There could have been a true peace in our time, a golden era. It was possible. It could have been possible. I don't think it's possible anytime soon. And I've had many, many people who are far older than me tell me that it's not going to happen. And for many years, I would hold on to the audacity of hope. But at this point, knowing how big oil, the military-industrial complex, war profiteering has its stranglehold over Washington politics, there won't be any kind of peace. There won't be any kind of diplomacy until people say enough is enough. There is no anti-war movement. There is no anti-war movement that will challenge the establishment system, because any remnants of the anti-war movement, be it on the left or on the right, has long since been co-opted by the corporations and the two-party neoliberal system. And so long as we remain silent, so long as we allow the system to continue as is, the suffering will continue on. Time is running out. And we have to fight for that better future, because if we don't, there won't be a future for humanity. And someday, some dumb idiot is going to push that shiny red button and the nukes will be a-flying.